What's happening, everyone? It's Fantasy Friday. Time to reveal our first running back rankings. Let's do it. So, when looking at the running back rankings this year, I think it's no surprise who you have to put at number one. To me, it's clear and cut and dry. I think it has to be Christian McCaffrey. I don't know necessarily if he'll finish there, but because of what he's been doing the past few years, his production level, the fact that he just had a historic season, and he's the go-to guy for it all in that offense, you gotta rank him number one. It's going to be very tough, though, this year because I really like Saquon Barkley. That's kind of one of the reasons why it's very tough, in my opinion, to pick at the top of the running backs, because usually when you have a top running back, like last year we had Saquon Barkley. He was the consensus number one. If he doesn't perform to that number one value, then you're missing out on a huge chance to really make a run at the playoffs because your top guy already isn't producing to where he's at. I could see that being the case with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, there's no arguing you have to take him number one because he is the clear one consensus going into this year. But I mean, I would not be surprised if Barkley passes him up and becomes the number one overall back this year for fantasy. Number three, I got Dalvin Cook. He had a terrific year this year. It was just incredible what he did. He's going to still be in that scheme with Kubiak. I got to put him at number three. He's a very good player. Expect him to do similar to what he did last year. Number four, I'm going Alvin Kamara. Now, this may be a surprise because obviously he didn't have a great year last year. But if you look at his stats, what he did in about 14 games was pretty impressive. 81 total catches, almost 800 yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground. And again, this is for PPR that I'll be doing these rankings for. So, I mean, having a pass catcher like that out of the backfield who did what he did without really getting many touchdowns, I mean, that's pretty impressive in my books. He's going to get the touchdowns next year. He's going to regress to that mean. I talked about it a little bit last time, where when you have a player who struggles with touchdowns, he'll normally regress to the mean and produce either more or less based on which side of the outlier that he was on from that curve. So I really like Kamara next year. I think getting him near the end of the first round will be a steal, and I would take him up in a heartbeat. Number five, I got Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is one of my favorite players going into next year. This is one of my bold predictions. I think he'll finish top five. They have a new quarterback potentially in Joe Burrow coming in. They still have a lot of weapons if A.J. Green stays and he gets back to his productive stealth. That would take a lot of pressure off Joe Mixon. Tyler Boyd, the offensive line was banged up last year. Jonah Williams should be coming back. He's a very good tackle. And I think this offense is going to take the next leap in the second year under Zach Taylor's system. Number six, Zeke. Zeke is a player that I'm very intrigued by, but I'm kind of fading a little bit. His talent alone, it makes him top five, but we kind of saw him struggle a little bit here and there in that offense because they're gearing it to be a more pass-heavy approach. I don't know what Mike McCarthy will bring to the table. He normally does not produce top fantasy running backs. We've seen that. Maybe he changes his philosophy. But for now, I'm going to put him a little bit lower than some of these other guys simply because I think the dynamic of this Cowboys offense is going to be shifted to that pass-heavy attack. And with the addition of Tony Pollard last year emerging a little bit as a receiving back, I think Zeke will lose touches in that area for Pollard's second year. Number seven, Nick Chubb. Another guy that I'm kind of going to be avoiding, but due to talent and potential, the potential for him to be the solo back there, depending on what Kareem Hunt does in free agency, makes him very intriguing. when Hunt was not in the picture, he was dominating game in and game out. He kind of lost some of his production due to Kareem Hunt being there. And if Hunt leaves, he instantly can be in this 5 to 7 range as a clear-cut fantasy running back one starter. Number 8, Derrick Henry. The guy's a workhorse. He gets a lot of touches. He gets a lot of broken tackles. He's a beast. I have him a little lower because I just feel that his ability to match the production he did, especially at the end of the year, is going to be difficult to sustain in PPR leagues. I feel that he's taking a lot of hits, and this type of running style usually wears a runner down earlier rather than later. So I'm going to have him in that 8 spot. Number 9, I'm going to put a guy in Austin Eckler. This is another guy, though, that comes with his question marks in terms of what's happening in the Chargers organization. Is Melvin Gordon going to return? What is going to happen with the quarterback? Are they going to bring in a rookie? Are they going to try to sign a veteran free agent? What is going on around him? I mean, the talent was there. We've seen it the past few years. He's produced in a 2 running back system, but I don't know what his situation is going to be like moving forward. So I feel comfortable putting him in the 9 to 12 range, potentially dipping if Gordon comes back, potentially moving him up if he's the solo back there. We'll just have to wait and see, but 9 feels comfortable for me right now. Number 10, Josh Jacobs. This one I was kind of on the fence about putting him top 10. I love what he did last year. He is so talented, but the Raiders have committed to bringing DeAndre Washington back as a potential pass-catching back. Does Jacobs lose some touches due to that? With most of his work just come on rushing downs? I don't know. In passing PPR leagues, it's very important for running backs to have that passing upside. If you're on a less talented team, in my opinion, the Raiders are certainly trending in the right direction, but the talent level around him with the wide receivers, Waller's really good. Let's not take that away from him. But the wide receivers, a lot of teams may look to stack the box depending on the wide receiver and quarterback situation moving forward. Number 11, Miles Sanders. This is another guy that I really liked at the end of the year. I think that he really turned it on, and I think the Eagles should commit to this guy. He's a lot of talent. He's versatile. He's good in the passing game. And I think that he takes the next step forward next year. He'll be that guy that makes the biggest jump from year 1 to year 2, in my opinion, out of this draft group. And he has a terrific year. Number 12, I'm going Leonard Fournette. A little bit lower on Fournette than most people. He had a really good year last year. Obviously, the touchdowns were not there, but what he did as a playmaker and rusher was very impressive. My one concern with Fournette, again, is there's a lot of injury concern from him and his style of running, just like Derrick Henry. I don't know if the Jaguars are fully committed to him still. I don't know what that offense is going to look like. A lot of teams may stack the boxes. Now, one guy that I want to talk about that's not on this list, that's a little bit lower for me, is Aaron Jones. Why am I so low on Aaron Jones? I think it goes back with the Alvin Kamara touchdown thing. Jones is a very terrific player. He's a playmaker, but I don't know if he could produce similar touchdown numbers to what he did last year. I think splitting time as a running back will hurt him. I think that Jamal Williams can potentially get that 40 to 45% of the snap range. And I think that Aaron Jones, like I said, is not going to produce as many touchdowns as he did. And he was kind of a boomer bust guy. Some weeks he did really well. He had 4 touchdowns a game. And then other weeks you didn't really see him. So that's a little concerning for me too. Like I said, this is my first ranking, so expect a lot to change from now, especially with the rookies coming in. But thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys soon.